All right, thank you guys. Thank God it's Friday. And if you really end up enjoying this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please feel free to do that right now as well. I'd greatly appreciate it. And with that, guys, we got ourselves a very rotund slate of NBA action here on a Friday. So let's go ahead and dive into it. The Hawks take on the Wizards, 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the nation's capital. The Hawks are the 5-point favorite on the road here. Totals 232, juice to the over. And if you like the Wizards in an upset at home here, they're plus 165 on the money line. Now we're 2-0 in our last two extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99 when you click the link in the description section below. We currently have over 1,250 paid members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And as bad as the Wizards have been playing, they're still in the top 3 in the NBA in home scoring, top 10 in home offensive field goal percentage. I bet you didn't think I was going to make a case for Washington here. But anyway, the Wizards are scoring over 120 points a night when they're home. Bradley Beal's averaging over 35 points a game along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook scoring over 18 a night himself along with 10 rebounds and 10 assists. The Wizards lead the NBA in first quarter scoring at home. Now they're taking on an Atlanta squad who lost 2 out of their last 3. And they may have to go to work tonight without Rondo, Reddish, Capella, and Okongwu. Atlanta's just 4-5 straight up on the road this season, and they find themselves in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage. Now the Hawks also are in the bottom 10 in points allowed on the road. They're allowing 114 points a night when they travel. And when it comes to the total on this one, 2 out of Atlanta's last 3 got over the posted number. Washington is 5-1 of the over on their home court. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Washington Wizards plus 5 and the over 232. Before we go ahead and move on here, guys, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's NBA action. Once again, happy Friday to you. The weekend is finally here. Congratulations. You most certainly deserve it. Now, before we go ahead and move on here and dive into some more free content, I just have to quickly remind you once again that we are 2-0 in our last 2 extra daily picks on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, the extra daily pick, that's one of the memberships that I offer on that website. And if you want to unlock today's extra daily pick, it's just $2.99 when you click the link in the description section below. And just remember, guys, when you sign up for a membership on Patreon, you get access to all the lesser expensive memberships absolutely free. So once again, when you sign up for one of my memberships on Patreon, you're going to instantly get access to all the lesser expensive tiers absolutely free. The cheaper memberships are included with your purchase. And for those who are wondering what the difference is between my free picks here on YouTube and my Patreon site, well, what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you guys as I break down the daily card and focus in on just 4 to 5 premium selections per day. Now, these are my personal plays. They're games that I personally have action on, games that I have a personal interest in. And I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way in smaller sample sizes versus wagering on every single game on the slate, side and total, like I do here with my free leans on YouTube. Now, guys, we currently have a community of over 1,250 paid members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, guys, we got ourselves a pretty big slate here on a Friday. So we're going to have to move here and get into some more free content. So our next game, it is going to be Pacers versus the Hornets, 7 p.m. Eastern start time in Charlotte. Now, the Pacers are the 3-point favorite on the road here. Totals 219.5. Indiana's on a 2-game winning streak, 5-2 straight up and against the spread on the road this season. The Pacers are in the top 10 in road scoring, top 5 in road offensive field goal percentage. Malcolm Brogdon is scoring 23 points a game for Indiana, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for the starting point guard. Meanwhile, Domantas Sabonis is scoring over 20 a game himself, along with a dozen boards and 6 assists. Now, the Pacers are also in the top 5 in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage on the road. They're taking on a Charlotte team who's just 1-6 straight up in their last 7 ball games, and they also dropped 5 of 8 at home this year. These guys aren't playing very good basketball over the past couple of weeks or so. Now, the Hornets are in the bottom 3 in home defensive rebounding, and they scored just 104 points a game at the Spectrum Center, really struggling offensively. And conversely, total-wise, Charlotte's 75% to the under at home. No surprise there. They're also in the bottom 5 in first quarter scoring. I'm going to lean toward the Indiana Pacers, -3, and the under 219.5. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Bucks versus the Pelicans, 7:30 p.m. East at the Smoothie King Center. The Milwaukee Bucks are -6.5 away from home. Total's 228.5. Milwaukee's on a 2-game winning streak, 6-2 straight up in their last 8. Milwaukee's first in the NBA in scoring, top 3 in offensive rebounding. Giannis Antetokounmpo is scoring 27 points a game, along with 11 rebounds and 6 assists. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton scoring 22 a night, along with 6 boards and 6 assists himself. They're taking on a bit of a disheveled Pelicans team who's dropped 8 out of their last 10, and they failed to cover the number in 70% of those contests. Lonzo Ball is questionable with an ankle. New Orleans averages just 109 points a game, and they make only 71% of their free throws. Now, total-wise, New Orleans saw their last 5 straight all get over the number, 9-1 to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Bucks saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with New Orleans get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Milwaukee Bucks -6.5 and the over 228.5. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be Cavaliers versus the Knicks, and that's going to be a 7:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off at Madison Square Garden. Now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the 1.5-point favorite on the road here. Total's 207 flat. The Cavs have lost 2 out of their last 3, and they also win just 37% of their games on the road. Cleveland also failed to cover the number in 5 out of their last 8 road games as well. The Cavs are dead last in the NBA in road scoring. They're also dead last in road free throw percentage. Now, Cleveland scoring just 98 points a game when they travel, and they make only 65% of their free throws in that same category. Nance, Stevens, and Dellavedova are questionable. Looks like Kevin Love is still out until starting to look like February now. That's what a couple of reports are saying. But anyway, Cleveland is taking on a Knicks team who's covered 4 out of their last 6, and they currently lead the NBA defensively in points allowed, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. New York gives up just 103 points a game, and they hold their opponents to just 31% shooting from beyond the arc. Julius Randle scoring 23 points a game, along with 11 rebounds and 6 assists. Meanwhile, R.J. Barrett scoring nearly 18 a night himself, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Both of those players I just mentioned, they've actually started in all 19 of New York's contests this season. Now, total-wise, 2 out of New York's last 3 did stay under the posted number, 71% to the under at MSG this season. Meanwhile, 6 out of Cleveland's last 8 road games stayed under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog New York Knicks +1.5 and the under 207. All right, next matchup we have for you on the big screen behind me. It is going to be Kings versus the Raptors, 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time in Tampa. The Raptors are -5 with the number at 229 juice to the over. Toronto's won 5 out of their last 8 ball games. They rank in the top 3 defensively in points allowed at home. They're also in the top 10 in home defensive field goal percentage. Now, Freddie VanVleet is scoring 19 points a game for Toronto, 5 rebounds, 7 assists for the shooting guard. Freddie's also averaging 2 steals a night. Meanwhile, Pascal Siakam scoring over 18 points a game himself, along with 8 boards and 5 assists. The Raptors give up just 104 points a game as the official home team. They're also in the top 10 in shooting the 3-ball. Now, Toronto is taking on a Sacramento squad who's lost 6 out of their last 9 themselves, and they're just 30% against the number in their last 10. Now, the Kings rank dead last defensively in both field goal percentage and three-point percentage. Sacramento allows over 120 points a game, and their opponents are making 40% of their three-pointers against them. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, Sacramento did see 2 out of their last 3 stay under the posted number, 7-3 to the under in their last 10 against Toronto. Meanwhile, the Raptors are 5-1 to the under in their last 6 themselves, 67% to the under at the Amalie Arena in Tampa. Once again, for those who don't know, Toronto is playing their home games in Tampa this year. Same arena as the Tampa Bay Lightning. But anyway, I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors, -5, and the under 229. All right, next contest. It is going to be Sixers Timberwolves, 8 p.m. Eastern tip in Minnesota. The Sixers are the 7-point favorite away from home. Totals 225.5. And I'll tell you this much. I really hate to use the term letdown spot here. These are professional athletes. The whole, motivation factor doesn't really apply to them all the time. But after an impressive victory at home against the Lakers, Philly's got to travel to Minnesota and take on a lackluster Minnesota team. Tough to get up for that game. And they might have to do it without the services of Joel Embiid, potentially. He's been struggling with a back injury and has been listed as day-to-day. And it always seems like these are the types of games where stars get rested and bettors don't end up getting the cover. Like they end up winning, but they don't cover because they rest a couple of their main guys. Now, Philly's also been pretty bad against the number on the road this season. Historically, they've been bad against the number on the road as well. They're just 2-6 against the spread when traveling. Bottom 3 in the NBA in road scoring. Sixers are averaging just 105 points a game away from home, and they find themselves in the bottom 5 in shooting the 3 ball on the road. Now they're taking on a Minnesota squad who's actually 5-4 against the spread on their home court this season, and they do rank in the top 10 in fourth quarter scoring. Backdoor cover maybe tonight? I don't know. D'Angelo Russell scoring 21 points a game for the T-Wolves, 3 rebounds and 6 assists for the shooting guard. Now keep an eye on Russell as he's been battling a quad injury. I expect him to play, but there's no guarantee there. Malik Beasley, he's scoring 20 tonight himself, along with 5 rebounds and a couple assists. And much to my surprise, the T-Wolves are in the top 10 defensively in second quarter points allowed at home. So if you're a prop bettor, keep that in mind. Now, total-wise, Minnesota saw 3 out of their last 5 contests stay under the number, throwing out their most recent Golden State game. Meanwhile, Philadelphia saw 5 out of their last 8 road games stay under the total themselves. I think they can keep it close here. I'm going to lean toward the Minnesota T-Wolves +7 and the under 225.5. All right, next contest. It is going to be Nets Thunder, 8 p.m. Eastern start time. The Brooklyn Nets are -9 away from home. Totals 230 flat. Durant and Harden go to their old home. But anyway, the Nets have failed to cover the point spread in 5 out of their last 7. Just 29% against the number on the road this season. Brooklyn's in the bottom 10 in road defensive rebounding, and they allow 118 points a night when they travel. They're taking on an OKC squad who's on a 2-game winning streak, and they went 4-2 against the number in their last 6. OKC's in the top 5 in defending the 3-ball, top 5 in third quarter scoring at home. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 22 points a night along with 6 boards and 7 assists. Meanwhile, Lou Dort is also scoring 13 a night for the Thunder along with 4 rebounds. Total-wise, 5 out of OKC's last 7 got over the posted number. Brooklyn's 9-1 to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the underdog OKC Thunder +9 and the over 230. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Clippers versus the Magic, 8 p.m. Eastern start time in Orlando. The Magic's -2 at home with the total at 212. Now, Orlando's dropped 8 out of their last 10, and they scored just 104 points a game on their home court. The Magic's in the bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage, and they lost their last 10 straight against the Clippers. Aminu and Carter Williams are out for the Magic. Now, they're taking on a Clippers team who beat Miami last night without many of their stars, and they actually held the Heat to just 105 points. The Clippers are 8-1 straight up in their last 9, and they cover 67% of their games on the road. Serge Ibaka scoring over a dozen a night along with 7 boards and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Marcus Morris is scoring over 11 a night himself, along with 4 rebounds. Now, keep in mind here, guys, Leonard, George, and Beverly are still out for Los Angeles, but they were able to get the job done against Miami, and I think they can do it in this spot here against an Orlando team who's just not playing very good basketball right now. They're just not a good team right now. But anyway, total-wise, 2 out of LA's last 3 stayed under the line. Orlando's 6-3 to the under at the Amway Center. Give me the underdog LA Clippers +2 and the under 212. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Nuggets versus the Spurs, 8:30 p.m. East. The Nuggets are -4 on the road. Total's 224 even. The Nuggets are on a 5-game winning streak, 7-2 against the number in their last 9. The Nuggets have also won 7 out of their last 9 road games this season, and they covered the number in nearly 70% of those contests. Denver's in the top 3 in the association in scoring, top 3 in defensive rebounding. Nikola Jokic is scoring over 25 points a game, along with 12 rebounds and 9 assists. The Joker's also averaging 2 steals a night. Meanwhile, Jamal Murray scoring 19 a game himself, 4 rebounds and 4 assists a game for the starting point guard. Denver scoring 118 points a game when they travel. They're taking on a Spurs team who's just 4-5 straight up at home, and they rank in the bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, the Spurs are making just 73% of their free throws at home, and they rank dead last in defending the 3-ball at home as well. Now, total-wise, San Antonio's 6-2 to the over in their last 8 meetings with the Nuggets. Denver's 7-2 to the over this season when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets -4 and the over 224. And with that, guys, we are going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Mavericks versus the Jazz, 10 p.m. Eastern start time in Utah. The Jazz are -4 at home with the total at 220.5. And if you like Dallas in an upset on the road here, they're plus $1.50 for some money line cash. Now, Dallas is on a 3-game losing streak and went just 2-6 straight up in their last 8. The Mavericks are dead last in three-point shooting, and they find themselves in the bottom 10 in defensive rebounding. Now, they're taking on a red-hot Utah team who's on a 10-game winning streak, 10-0 against the number in those victories. These guys have been cashing tickets for people for quite some time now, over the past couple of weeks. Now, the Jazz have won 7 out of 9 on their home court, and they covered the number in 78% of those home contests. Now, keep an eye on Donovan Mitchell. He's been upgraded to questionable. There's a chance we could see him in action here tonight, but even if we don't, Mike Conley's scoring 17 points a game along with 4 rebounds and 6 assists. Conley's also averaging 2 steals a game defensively. Meanwhile, Jordan Clarkson's dropping 18 a night from the bench along with 5 rebounds and a couple assists himself. Utah leads the NBA in offensive rebounding, and they also lead the association in defensive rebounding at home. The Jazz give up just 104 points a game at the Vivint Smart Home Arena. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, 3 out of Utah's last 4 ball games got over the line, throwing out their most recent outing. Meanwhile, 4 out of Dallas's last 5 got over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Utah Jazz -4 and the over 220.5. And with that, guys, we are going to dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 2-0 in our last 2 extra daily picks on that website. I like the Wizards +5 over 232. Pacers -3 under 219.5. Bucks -6.5 over 228 and a hook. Knicks +1.5 under 207. I'm also leaning toward the Toronto Raptors -5 under 229. I also like the Minnesota Timberwolves +7 under 225.5. Give me OKC +9 over 230. I'm also leaning toward the Clippers +2 under 212. And when it comes to our next matchup, I like the Nuggets -4 over 224. And before I give you this next and final game for the show, one final reminder that you can actually access today's extra daily pick on Patreon for just $2.99 by clicking the link in the description section below. Please feel free to smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video. You can also hit that subscribe button now. If you haven't done so already, I'd be greatly appreciative if you did that for me. I'm going to lean toward the Utah Jazz -4 and the over 220.5. And with that, guys, we are going to dive into some shout-outs. Our top 10 commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to Socrates F., William Moore, Asher Steele, Alan Hudson, Ryan Mikulski, Michael Heineman, Red Bull Psycho, Michael Paulson, Pizza Brian, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my man, The Rudy.